Welcome to B.I.V.I.P. I am the notorious B.I.V. and you are my lovely VIPs. Thank you so much for joining the show today. And I promised you a review of Top Gun Maverick, and that's what you're gonna get. So let's get into it. So here's the thing. I've noticed, like, the last 3 or so. You guys know I see a lot of comic book movies. In the last 3 or so, I've given like pretty good reviews to like Doctor Strange and the Eternals and Shang-Chi, etc., etc. But like in hindsight, like those weren't really great movies, and I feel kind of bad about it. But this is not a makeup call, okay? This is not a makeup call on Maverick, though. But these movies, I've noticed, like with Marvel movies in particular, right? Like I can go. Even if it is just kind of a mediocre Marvel movie, at least I can be like, hey, I got to see Doctor Strange do cool things, and I got to see Wanda do cool things, and I got to see Mr. Fantastic and whatever, right? Like I get to see all my favorite characters doing cool stuff. So I can still kind of enjoy the movie to some extent, even if it's not like the greatest movie ever, right? Something like Top Gun Maverick doesn't have that to fall back on, really. Unless like you're a super fan of the original movie, maybe. But even then, it's like that's just like one movie, right? Like I read Doctor Strange. I read some Doctor Strange comics when I was like a kid, when I was like 10 or so, and then some more Doctor Strange comics when I was 16 to 18 in that age range. So I've kind of grown up with this character, and so when I see the movie, it's just like, oh, this is awesome, like it's way cool. So a movie like Maverick doesn't really have that to fall back on. So I saw Maverick, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time in the theater. It was entertaining, but in hindsight, it just doesn't really hold up. I don't think, I honestly wonder like why everyone is raving about this movie. So, and I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate it, okay? But still, it's just not like. So first of all, so the first third of the movie is just like pure nostalgia fest, right? And that was kind of cool. The second part of the movie just kind of like bogged down, and I was just like, what's it started to lose me, honestly. But then, like at the very end, like when he makes his friggin' his run, through that obstacle course to prove to everyone that it can be done or whatever, right? Like that, got me back into it. I was like, oh, I'm back in, And then the last third was awesome, but it just there are so many problems with this movie. First of all, like there are no characters. No one gets any character development in this movie except Maverick and Rooster, right? A little bit, and maybe like Maverick's girlfriend or whatever. And that's it. Like honestly, like think about like do you know anything about any of the superior officer guys, right? You got Ed Harris at the beginning. He's like, I'm cranky superior officer guy, and like really, that's all you know about him. John Hamm, you don't know anything about John Hamm's character except that I'm superior officer guy. And then he's got his assistant dude, the black guy that's like assistant superior officer guy, right? You got the black guy that Tom Cruise is working with at the beginning, in the test pilot program, and then he like takes him with him to the Top Gun program. You don't know anything about that guy. Like, we don't know if he's married. We don't know if, what his hopes and dreams are. We don't know anything about any of these characters. And then the cadets. Like, tell me anything about the cadets. There's really nothing, right? Hangman's like a cocky, he's like a really good pilot, and he's cocky, and he's kind of a dick, and that's, right? Like, he gets a little bit of character development, I guess. But I mean, tell me, you know jack squat about the girl, Bob even, right? They start setting up Bob a little bit. They're like, so why is your call sign Bob? And then they like then Hangman makes fun of it, like, oh, it means baby on board or whatever, and then like they never even touch it again. It's just like, okay, he just is called Bob for some reason. Like they kind of set that up, and then they never follow up with it. So we don't know anything about Bob. We don't know anything about like, I think there's two black guys and like a Hispanic guy and whatever. And it was funny too, like I knew as soon as they introduced all the cadets, right? I'm like, okay, he's gonna choose the woman, the black guy, and the Hispanic guy. Like you just know that's gonna be the deal, right? And of course that's exactly what he does. And I'm not like I don't really care much about diversity and inclusion personally, but if you do, like, is this the kind of representation you like? Like, you just have these token characters that they have no backstory, nothing is even said about them. They're just like the girl, the black guy, and the Hispanic guy, right? Like that's it. Like why? Like do you like that? Are you like yay inclusion? But then like there's these non-characters that don't even really matter. And I've got to assume Bob is like the gay guy, right? Because you got the woman, you got the black guy, you got the Hispanic guy, and you got Bob, who's another white guy. So he's got to be the gay guy, right? If we're going with diversity and inclusion, Bob must be gay. I can only assume that Bob's gay. So that kind of rounds out the whole inclusion picture there. But so you know nothing about any of those characters. You know, it's just Tom Cruise and Rooster, right? It's like Maverick and Rooster. That's it, right? Those are the only characters in this movie. Um, so so they go on the so Tom Cruise proves that the mission can be done, right? And so they go on this mission and another thing that bugged me is like, well, it bugged me and it didn't bug me. So a lot of times in these movies, like we can't show Arabs like as terrorists, right? Even though like most of the terrorism that we fight is like Arabs, but for some reason we can't show those on the screen, right? It's like that's bad. So they're always like these generic white guys with German accents or Irish accents or something that are like terrorists, and we're just like, okay, sure, whatever. Um, but and, and but in this, they didn't do that. They didn't go that route, which I liked. But then they do this weird like generic villain, right? And every time they mention this organization is has this nuclear facility that's causing us problems, so we got to take it out. So this organization or this whatever this country or whatever, like every time they mention it, I'm just like it just took me out of the film because they're just like purposely vague about who or what this organization is. Um, and so every time they mention it, it was just like, oh yeah, they're like trying to say they're trying to have an enemy. They're trying to make this faceless enemy. Like the military would never sit there and talk about this organization, this like faceless, nameless organization we're gonna go fight against in this nameless, faceless place that we're not gonna mention and stuff. Like that just started to bug me. Like every time they mentioned that, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then when you see the pilots, the enemy pilots at the end, like they're completely covered from head to toe, like you don't know what they look like, right? And even like the insignia on their planes and stuff is like this like bird, this like red bird or whatever. It's just like this completely generic faceless enemy. So that was kind of dumb, I thought. But I mean, again, I would rather have that, I guess, than like the white German terrorists or whatever they that they usually use in movies. And they even had snow. I kept kind of picturing it as like Iran, maybe like they were attacking Iran, but then like but then there was all this snow and stuff in the, in the end scenes, and I'm like, is there any there? I think they purposely made it non-desert, so it's like it can't be Arabs or whatever, right? But I don't know. Maybe there's snow in Iran up in the mountains or something. I don't know. Anyway, um, so they finally so then like I said, the last third of the movie is cool. It's action packed, but it felt more like a Mission Impossible movie than it did like Top Gun to me. Especially like right up um till Maverick gets shot down, right? Like all the way up to that point, it was like, yeah, it was Top Gun. It was cool. And I honestly thought they might kill off Maverick at one point. And when he got shot down, it was like, oh, is that it? Like, did he really get shot down? But of course he didn't, and that's fine too. That's fine. But from that point on, it seemed like a Mission Impossible movie. Like they go and steal the jet and all that stuff, and I just thought, yeah, okay, whatever. Um, and there was a lot of like apparently everyone just gets to eject, right? Like that's just like Tom Cruise. He gets shot down, but then he ejects somehow, right? Wakes up, with his parachute on or whatever. Um, and then Rooster goes back for him and gets shot down and just like punches out or whatever, and like I really don't think it's that easy, but everyone just gets to punch out in this movie, and so then they get the plane, they go and find like the one working plane that's still there, and like they can get it running and all that. Okay, sure, whatever. So that part just seemed really Mission Impossible to me, but yeah, I mean, like Tom Cruise's girlfriend, I don't, she was just like really kind of pointless. Like why? I guess we have to have a love interest in the show, right? Like that's all she was. I mean, she just wasn't. I mean, and she did a good job. I like Jennifer Connelly. Like she did a good job with what she was given to do, right? I mean, she was just there to be like, the girl, Tom Cruise's love interest, whatever. That's fine. Um, but and Jennifer Connelly, she's weird, man. Like she used to be just like friggin' gorgeous. Like if you go back, go watch The Rocketeer. Like I think it's a Disney movie. It might Is it on Disney Plus? I'm not sure. Go watch her in The Rocketeer. She's like a friggin' pinup girl come to life. Like she's just so perfect. Um, but then like I think she was sick of like getting typecast for like you know being like the pinup girl or whatever, that they would cast her as, and so then she disappeared for a while, and then she came back just like bone thin, and that's how she is now. She's just like completely bone thin, and she's still like she's still a good looking woman, but it's just a shame like to see all that go to waste. You know what I mean? Like when she was filled out, she was like friggin' amazing. So go watch The Rocketeer if you want to see Jennifer Connelly in her prime, but that was just another. She was just like another token character. Like, I mean, she had a little bit of a backstory and stuff, and that was fine. She had a daughter and an ex-husband and whatever, and had a history with Tom Cruise. Couldn't say no to Maverick ever. She couldn't stay mad at Maverick. But yeah, there's no characters in this movie, and I don't know. I I hope they don't make a sequel. Like, I don't know that I would really want to see a sequel to this. Anyway, it was an all right movie, but there were a lot of flaws, and I think it's odd that maybe people just like wanted like a good feel good movie, and so they're overlooking a lot of the problems with this movie. But I just found a lot of flaws in it, and it wasn't my fave. But go see it. Tell me what you think in the comments. Did you like it? Am I wrong? Like honestly, like tell me if are there any other characters in this movie? No one gets any character development. But let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening. I am the Notorious B.I.V. I will see you all in the next video, and I love you guys. Yeah.